So we got this company to come and move our shed for us. I'd put down the gravel grid base on this side. I couldn't do that side because the concrete was there and I couldn't cut the concrete myself. But that's what a nice level gravel grid base looks like. The company said that they'd cut the concrete for me, and they said that they'd put down the rest of the grids for me. They said they'd move the shed for me, and it was supposed to be as simple as that. They sent a different company over, and this different company did an absolute terrible job. Firstly, I told them to make sure that the shed was not forward of the front elevation. I showed them with this piece of string where the front elevation was, where the shed was supposed to line up. I did not want it over anymore over the grids, as the grids do start to dip down on that side, but that should be fine. It doesn't matter if it's not level right at the edge, because the shed was not supposed to be there. They've ended up putting the shed overhanging the gravel grid base, and then to make that better, they've like propped it up with chunks of wood and bigger stones, which to me is just absolute amateur and looks terrible. That one's just hanging in air. From there onwards it is more level, so that wouldn't have been an issue if it had been put in the right place. So firstly, they've put it in the wrong place because they've put it forward of the front elevation. The gravel grids that they did put down, they didn't even try and put straight or level. Like, there's the top corner there. Look how out of level that is. That is so out of level. They didn't even try and get it level and straight. It's all over the place. These last 2-3 grids is that the bits they did. It's like pointing up over here, so it's completely unlevel. If you go inside the shed, that's the level there, and that is how the piece of wood is lying. So that's level. The floor is definitely not level. And they also told me they'll make sure the membrane was down. They said, oh, we'll get a nice membrane, make sure the membrane's all nice and down. Well, they haven't bothered at all. This is all covered up, but it's not going underneath the shed and the gravel base. It's obviously here, and that's they put the gravel straight onto the dirt. So an absolute amateur job. I told them straight away. Well, unfortunately I paid them, because on first inspection, I mean, I was looking after my baby and I was looking after the dogs. I couldn't do much, but you don't think they can go too far wrong when they're a professional shed company, landscaping company. So unfortunately I hadn't double checked everything that they were supposed to do, but I told them straight away that they'd got it wrong. They'd also left some expensive tools in the shed as well. So I said, oh, you've left your tools, but it's also in the wrong spot. They came over the next day, collected their tools, and said, oh, we'll be down the next week, and never heard from them since. They blocked my number. I got hold of the original company I first got hold of. They said, oh, it's not my problem, we'll come down and move it as a favour when we're next in the area. And they keep fobbing me off. I keep telling them that it's their responsibility. They're the ones that I made the deal with. They're the ones I spoke to. They're the ones that told me they'd get it all nice and perfect. And they're just fobbing me off. They're not. They said that they'd come over this last Wednesday. My partner took the day off work so he could be here, because I was working on Wednesday, and they just didn't even show up. So don't use these companies. It's A1 Landscaping, ShedworX and Proline Fencing. They're absolute cowboys, absolute amateurs. Do a horrendous job and don't care about putting any mistakes right.